and I ended up getting 100% on the majority of his exams for the rest of the year. Now, the funny story about that is, I ended up doing my graduate work at the University of Pittsburgh, where I did my undergraduate work, and my husband also went to school there, and he was my husband's major professor. And so I often go back and I talk to Dr. Knapp and say, you know, I was able to make it. And it was because he really challenged me that I wanted to move forward and I wanted to work really hard. And I think, you know, as we talked about in the chant, you have to work hard and you have to enjoy what you're doing, but don't let anybody tell you that you can't. You just maybe need to work a little bit harder to get there, and you need to really believe in you. And then lastly, you have to imagine the future. I have to say, when I went to graduate school, computers were just starting. And you know, now you look at how could we live our lives without computers? So what I need each and every one of you to do is say, I'm young, but what do I think the future is going to look like? And what do I need to do to prepare myself for that future? So please imagine that future, enjoy what you do, and never let anyone tell you that you can't, because you can, and it starts here with you. So I hope I've shared with you today a little bit about the different opportunities that you have in pursuing degrees in science, mathematics, biology, chemistry, and you've really seen that the opportunities are endless. I've just kind of scratched the surface and told you a little bit about what you can do in the different pharmaceutical industries, but there are so many other industries out there: chemical industries, food industries, petroleum. There's just so much that you can do. So I really want to, challenge you to continue to reach to the stars and, let the sky be your only limit as you pursue your careers and enjoy what you do every day. So with that, thank you very much, and I really hope you enjoy your day today.
Reese and Rebecca come down, please. There you are. We would like to thank you for being our keynote speaker at EYH, and these girls would like to thank you as well.
Oh, well, thank you very much, ladies. Thank you. Oh, thank you. My daughters were going to try to come with me today because we don't have such programs like this in New Jersey. Unfortunately, they're playing in a soccer tournament, and they couldn't let their team down, so they weren't able to make it. But hopefully in the future, we'll be able to come down. Thank you very much. Good luck to you. Great.
Thank you very much.
Oh, sure.
Now, would anyone like to ask Dr. Habashi any questions? Well, I will start out. What was your favorite math or science class in high school?
I think my favorite class was calculus, and it was, I have some mathematicians in the audience, and it was really fun to, work through the problems and think about creative ways to solve them.
I'm currently taking calculus right now, so I'm not making fun of it. Is there any more questions that you'd like to ask her? I know you have questions.
We don't have a medical physics concentration on campus. Are you seeing more jobs that have the medical physicists?
I do, and we were talking about this a little bit at breakfast this morning. Sometimes it's not enough to just be a physicist or a chemist, but being able to mix the careers and really bring forward some different technologies and different ways to approach problems. Because really, what you'll learn in science is a disciplined approach to a problem. And so the more diverse experiences you have, the more different ways you can bring problem-solving techniques to the table. So I think some of the hybrid careers are going to be very important as we move forward. Now, I'm getting all the questions from the faculty. I need some questions from the students. Yes, there's a question over here. How many drugs have I worked on? Well, it's very interesting. In preparing for today, I kind of took a count. In my 20-year career, I've probably worked on 100 different compounds, and the compound that I'm currently working on is the only one that's ever gotten approval. Most of them have failed through the process. Either they had issues with safety, or we couldn't get the correct efficacy we wanted, or sadly enough, we were going to be third to fourth to market. So from a competitive perspective, we couldn't make money on the drug, so we didn't move it forward. Any other questions? Oh, yes. Do I take any of the drugs that I make? I have to say, happily no, because I'm very healthy. But, you know, I do think that some of the drugs that we put out there really do help patients, and if they need them, then we'll give them to them and make sure they get them safely. Okay. The question for those of you on this side of the room that may not have heard it is, what was that class that you took that was like the aha? And really make me help decide what I was going to do. And I really think that's when I was an undergraduate in pharmacy school. And I was taking classes in pharmacology. And in pharmacology, you're learning about how the drug affects different receptors, and then how it causes its pharmacological action. And that was really interesting for me to think about. You know, you have this drug that's going to interact with some receptor, and then the receptor is going to release maybe a hormone, and then it's going to, you know, have an action. So that's really what made me excited. And then, as I mentioned to some of you, when I was an undergraduate in pharmacy school, I needed a job. I had to work 2 jobs. I put myself through school. And one of my professors was speaking and said, I need someone to come and do research in my lab to wash glassware. Well, I took that job because I needed the job. And as I worked with him over the years, he gave me more and more opportunities. And so he was working with transplant patients. And I did some of my first studies in transplant patients. And even as an undergraduate, he gave me that opportunity to do some studies, some pharmacokinetic studies. And I loved what I was doing, so that really helped me decide to go into graduate school. So I think it's an evolution of you find something you really like, and you continue to find different avenues and explore if that's going to be your passion, what you want to get up every day and do. Another question?
So you just mentioned you did undergraduate research. Mm-hmm. Did you participate in any internships during your college education?
Okay. One of the questions that was asked down here, just for those in the back, is I mentioned that I did undergraduate research, and did I participate in any internships? As a pharmacy student, you needed to do a, gosh, it must have been 200 hours of work in a pharmacist before, as a pharmacy intern, before you could take your boards. So I did a lot of interning as a pharmacist. I worked in classical hospital pharmacy settings. I also worked in a community pharmacy, and then I also worked in home health care. So I had some different exposures when I was studying pharmacy to even look at different avenues within a pharmacist's ability to do different jobs. And that's something that really helped me decide if I was going to be a pharmacist, what avenue would I like to pursue. So anytime you're working on a different area, if you have the opportunity to do an internship, it really helps show you what the day-to-day work of that person is, and it gives you different avenues to explore.
Are there any more questions? Thank you very much.